All right, I'm on the mend. I'm on the uphill swing, thank God. That was a little bit much, man. Being sick sucks. Pain in the ass. Fortunately, though, Sarah is on her way down, spiraling right now. Bit of a bummer, but she's pretty tough. It just sucks so those bugs work out, right? Now, where to start? Quick note. Excuse me. Quick note. Not even remotely relate. Well, somewhat relating to this topic in a way. So I noticed I caught a video the other day of an older guy getting interviewed in New Zealand, and I couldn't tell what it was they were talking about. I thought it might have been Sasquatch related, possibly, when I saw it going down, because they're showing photographs that this guy had, or interviewing this guy, and then I hit the volume, and it turned out that there's a big controversy in New Zealand whether or not moose are still alive down there. And I know they did transplant white-tailed deer, Rocky Mountain elk, wild turkey are down there, red deer, obviously, even rabbits. Unfortunately, the place is overrun with frickin' rabbits. Seeing it firsthand is crazy. And moose. And they say that the moose did survive, but now there's been sporadic sightings, just like Sasquatch in a way, of moose in New Zealand over the years. And this guy had a few artifacts, you know, he had a couple of potential moose shed antlers that had been found, and they had a black and white photograph of a moose standing in one of those tight valley bottoms. An old photograph when they were possibly still existing. And then he had some other guy, young guy from British Columbia, who's a helicopter pilot, who says he saw one, noting him as a credible source for a witness. And I thought about it, and I've been to New Zealand, and I thought about it, I'm like, all right, if they give me the rough guesstimate area, if it's that important, if there's any of our Kiwi, anybody in the crowd here is our Kiwi followers, and they know what I'm talking about, if there is that much of an interest, if there's that much of a mystery, I definitely would be willing to go down there and go for it. And I do feel fairly confident that if I get down there during your fall, if you've got a population of moose hidden somewhere, I'll find them. I would love that challenge. I've found a few moose in my past, a few, but I do feel absolutely confident that if I made that as a goal, if they still do, if there's a small pocket somewhere, I'll find them, and I would take that challenge on. So, if this is a great mystery and of significant importance to somebody in New Zealand, and you're watching and you know them, pass this on. And give them my contact, proguide66@howtohunt.com, and I'll do it. I will go find the moose, and I will call one right up to my lap and videotape it in New Zealand, if they still exist. I'd be all over it, especially because I believe our early spring is their fall. So it's a great time of year for me to go off and do an adventure like that. There you go. Thought I'd share that one. Now, enough of me babbling. Let's get some voices heard, shall we? Listen to this. What do we got? Hey, Steve. These glasses suck. I'll destroy them in no time. Hey, Steve, watch every one of your shows on YouTube. I'm a 30-year-old male. I live 40 minutes away from my experience. Me and my wife were on the mountain one day. We were dirt bike, where we ride dirt bike. And it's in the small mountains in the middle of Pennsylvania. Go figure. It's state game land. But here's my best one. We were on the mountain driving our truck around, noticed trees broken and bent. I accidentally left a piece of litter by the structures. So we got out, looked around. Mostly they were little pine trees. We felt like we were being watched. Yes, I was drinking, but like you said, it only makes your clothes come off, LOL. So, we left. On our way down the mountain, we kept hearing things in the woods. Snaps, pops. Really fast running of something moving in there. Couldn't see anything with the spotlight. So, meanwhile, we got to paved road and felt a lot better. Then, about 2 miles down the road, I pulled over to take a leak by the creek. And it's an old pullout on Monument Orviston Road. This vibrating roar came that freaked my wife out. She said it sounded like it was right there. And I told her it was on the mountain because you could hear an echo. So she yelled at me to get inside the effing truck, so we left. We left freaky? Probably meant freaked out. Now this happened in 2019. Now that I think about what we... Now that I think about what did we do to piss it off? My wife said, I remember knocking a leaning stick off of a tree, the piece of litter that I dropped. Well, thank you for your time, Alan and Gail. P.S. Keep doing what you're doing. We still go there and ride our UTV. All right, gotcha, man. Couple little minor typos, no big deal. Got her done. I don't know if you pissed it off. I don't know exactly what these roar screams directly translate to myself yet. But if somebody's familiar with that zone, which I'm sure somebody is, especially if somebody else has had something happen there, excuse me, they're either going to comment about it in the section below, comment section below this video, or they're going to email me, right? So, appreciate you sending that in. There's another one. What do we got here? This is titled Possible Sasquatch Story. Hi, Steve. Recently just found your channel. I love it. I live in northern Alberta, but I'm from the Fraser Valley originally. Anyway, I thought I'd share this story with you. Something unexplainable that happened during a fishing trip my cousin and I were on as teenagers up the Skagit Valley. Bullseye for activity. I'm originally from the town of Hope, another bullseye, and this is where this takes place. This would have been the early 70s, probably 71 or 72. My grandfather used to take my two cousins and I hunting and fishing a lot in the mountains around Hope, BC. And once we hit our teens, my older cousin and I headed out on our 10-speed bikes to go camping / fishing for an overnight trip. This particular time, we headed out to a lake called Green Drop Lake, which is up the Silver Skagit Road. I believe now there's a logging road going close by. But at the time, there was only a trail called Hicks Creek Trail, I believe, that left just a few hundred meters off of the SS Road. Anyway, I'd never been to it before, but my cousin had been there with my grandfather and uncle, and assured me that unlike the trail to nearby Eaton Lake, E-A-T-O-N, which was then called Crescent Lake, this trail was gentle and could probably ride our bikes all the way to it. So, we packed up sleeping bags and some grub and headed out on a Saturday. I think it was late spring or early summer. It turned out my cousin had seriously underestimated how long it would take to ride our bikes there, and how the logging road was a long, slightly uphill grade. We were just past Silver Lake, and a fellow in a pickup asked us where we were going, and offered to give us and our bike a ride, which we gladly accepted. We got off at the trail. We got off at where the trail started and started heading up the trail. By that time it was pissing rain and the bikes were all but useless in the mud, so we ditched them, hiding them in the bush beside someone's old shake claim. We continued on foot for a couple of kilometers, and just as we were going through a heavily vegetated meadow of sorts, we heard something big run off in front of us. We were scared shitless, as we had no gun with us, but decided to press on, as this was no place to make camp, so we kept going, making lots of noise. We assumed it must have been a bear, as there was a large, flattened area in a grassy spot where we heard the noise originate from. Eventually we got into a semi-open area, and there was a log with the top slabbed flat by a power saw, set up as a footbridge over the creek. I remember it was about 12 feet or so above the water. excuse me, the trail went into some standing timber not long after the crossing. It was getting late, so we decided to set up camp there and go to the lake the next day. It was still pissing rain, and we were having a hell of a time getting a fire going in the old growth, as there was not a lot of dry fuel around. We were practically right on the trail and never saw another soul or any sign of anyone, as few people knew about this place yet. Anyway, after about half an hour of trying to get a fire going, we were getting frustrated. Both of us got a creepy feeling we were being watched as well. I suggested we head back down to where our bikes were, as we'd have no problem getting a fire going with all the cedar from the shake claim. So we headed back down. Cedar shakes, that's roofing. That's how they get the cedar roofing panels, if you're not familiar with that, right, you guys? Panels. Shingles. This is where it got weird. Set across the crude log bridge were two huge heavy chunks of wood laying crossways across it on the flat surface. We looked at each other with a "what the F" look and kept going. Who or what put these huge heavy chunks of wood in the middle of a bridge that was 12 feet high in the air was and still is a mystery to me. But I have a hunch. We were feeling extra creeped out by then, as we had not seen or heard a soul, so we continued past haste back to where our bikes were, got a huge cedar fire going, and stayed up all night, burning the rest of the cedar blocks that had been left there. Hopefully nobody wanted those. It's a lot of work to cut those suckers. Next morning, we jumped in our bikes and rode back home, saying to each other we needed to start bringing at least a 22 with us. So that's it. Not terribly exciting, but a story/experience about something unexplainable just the same. I would have been about 14, and my cousin about 16. My paternal grandmother was Thompson Salish, from the... oh, I hate trying to pronounce the native words. Nalaka Pamux Nation. I probably ruined that. NLAKA''PAMUX Nation, of which I'm a member as well. My dad used to tell me how she knew the lady that watched a Sasquatch take one of her barrels of salt fish. Judy Chapman, the Chapman family, Ruby Creek, which I believe is in one of the books about them. Correct. With indigenous folks, it's generally not even a question about whether these beings exist or not. They just do. Keep those videos coming and feel free to use my story if you want. Glenn. Got you, Glenn. I read this a long time ago. This was sent in 2019, December 2nd, 2019. There you go. There's only about 250,000 new people subscribed here since then, so it's not a waste of time to reread that one. Now, I wonder how many people reading have had an experience in that area. Named, I wonder. If somebody's out here watching this channel that has, you know they're going to comment in the comment section below, or they're going to email me, right? And that email, I got to start putting the link for that email in the description below. So a lot of social media stuff, sometimes I'll see comments or messages or whatever. Lots of people are always saying, where's the email? How do you email this guy? And I think I say it in every video, don't I? Maybe I should start putting it somewhere. I don't know. Share my story at howtohunt.com. That's where you send it. Now, also, quick word I always forget to mention some things that I wanted to before I hit record on these damn cameras. I don't rehearse anything or write anything down or get anything organized so what I'm going to read, right? I just show up to my friend's table, which is everybody here, and we crack open the phone together and let it rip, right? And talk about whatever we want. Getting in tune with yourself, your intuition. I've said this a lot in the past, I just need to say it again and keep saying it the odd time. If you can't do much else, I do strongly believe that a couple of minor items will help you become more in tune with yourself so that you do not need direction from anybody for anything. But anyways, I've completely cut fluoride out of my existence. When I do use the toothbrush, also floss, I use predominantly mouthwash now without any fluoride or any bad. I use mouthwash and toothbrush, baking soda water. Some people use that. But anyways, it's an alternative to your typical toothpaste, which is been pushed on society to be a main thing to use daily, twice a day, with fluoride. Why they advertised fluoride and made us think that we need to perk up when we hear fluoride, I haven't a clue. That it's not good for us, just like sugar has been proven to be a toxic substance for human bodies. But sugar is also pummeled into everything commercially made for us, right? It's the red flag, the heads up, especially today while we are rapidly learning that we are being lied to about basically everything. Anyway, one item you can do, eliminate the fluoride. Everything that I do too, I try to encourage people to do is just, it's simple, it's easy. It doesn't matter if it's winter and there's snow outside, just suck it up and take your shoes and socks off and go outside and ground yourself out. All right? Just do it for a minute. Just do it for a minute. Longer if you can, wherever you go. You need to ground yourself out. It's important. It makes a difference. All right? As I am trying to come up with the smooth delivery of how-to recipe, become more in tune with yourself. All right? Right now, my main number one decision maker that I follow, my number one leader that I follow today, is me, inside here. I don't jump on anyone's bandwagon, no matter what. I have learned to quit arguing with myself. I have learned to not gaze at some stranger and take what they say as the way. I'm relying on me to lead me through this lifetime. I'm relying on me to decipher what is legitimate or isn't in this lifetime with everything. With everything. With people. With knowledge. With the right things to do. The moves to make. The trail to take. It's all inside me, and it's all inside of all of you, but we need everyone to break free of the grip that's on the majority of us, which is to seek somebody else out for direction. That's so wrong. All right? All right, I'll stop right there. Ground yourself out, get rid of the fluoride, okay? Drink only healthy water and try to get your sugar intake down to an absolute minimum. That's a little handful of a lot of things I got to share to help you become more in tune with yourself. All right? You're not going to get past levels of knowledge unless you get in tune with yourself. You're going to get to a point where you absolutely need you to tell you things. All right? Well, you need that every single day, but it's not easy to get everyone up to speed. And I know there's people here that are far more advanced than I am. Okay, enough babbling. Obviously, I'm starting to feel better. Back to my normal, annoying, babbling self. Okay, here we go. Hey, Steve. There's an old book from REI called Freedom of the Hills. It describes a trail as a thin line of civilization tracking through pristine wilderness. Hence the need to learn a huge amount of things before you can attain enough independence to travel the wilderness without trails. Most of the people you interact with operate at the Freedom of the Hills standard of life. Coincidence topic, possibly, with what I just babbled about? Strangely, the same applies to traveling through empty minds. An empty mind is so vast you can get lost in there for a whole lifetime. Go figure. And many people do. So they just follow the herd. And the thin trails they travel do not allow them to encounter reality very much. Oh, so agreed. That is why the things you do are important, encouraging them to continue the adventure of reality. What are the chances we're going to read an email like this after the babble spiel I just gave? Then there are those that learn how to truly interact with reality. Life certainly becomes an adventure as you learn how to distill tons of knowledge into treasures of wisdom. There's some amazing things to be discovered when exploring reality. I concur. visiting reality. Strangely, water is one of the most common things in everyday life. So much so, we rarely even think about it. That rain, snow, and clouds in every one of your videos is part of the total global precipitation of 500,000 cubic kilometers falling to Earth every year. Also, there are 10 million kilometers squared of Arctic and 15 million kilometers squared of Antarctic sea ice formation formed every year. When you have time, search the anomalies of water, and you will discover it is one of the most uncommon compounds known to man. It boils at 100 degrees Celsius / 212 degrees Fahrenheit, but only in specific conditions. More importantly, it evaporates at any temperature between freezing point and boiling point. That part of its physics is what allows the weather systems to function. Every cupful of water contains a minimum of 1,000 PhDs of knowledge attached to it. Stop to consider just how many things water is used for each day, not only by man, but within the environment as well. It is a vital component in 7.8 billion human bodies, without adding up animals and plants to the total. Then there are all the environmental actions that take place. Other oddities. 1. The Earth rotates west to east, but we watch the sun travel east to west. That's an easy one to accept and figure out. Number 2. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Well, maybe 2 days a year. Here in Perth, Australia, it rises somewhere between 60 degrees south and 120 degrees south as it travels through the seasons. East is 90 degrees south. Number 3, the northern summer actually occurs when the Earth is farthest from the sun. Summer down under is when Earth is closest to the sun. Sometimes school teachers don't teach reality. I'd say 99% of the time school teachers teach bullshit today from what I am learning on my own. That's just me though. Number 4, full moons always rise at sunset and only at sunset because the sun has to be directly opposite for the moon to be fully illuminated. Number 5, water weighs 850 times the weight of air. So how does it float around up there in the clouds? Number 6, water vapor weighs less than air. So storms occur in low pressure cells, but the low pressure is also because the water vapor is condensing. At sea level, 1,600 cubic meters of water vapor condense into 1 cubic meter of water. Hence the fierce winds to fill in the space vacated by the water vapor. The point of this discussion is that there is a level of reality out there far beyond normal human perception. You are one of the few that understand what is out there and commendably assist others when the reality events happen to people at levels they never expected to experience. By the way, the sixth sense operates across vast distances as well. I was logistics manager for a remote sites construction company. My triple road train driver could never understand how I could ring him so many times just as he was reaching for the phone, as he had just entered into a cell phone reception area, especially considering he was 1,000 miles away. One day I had a strange feeling, so I checked the weather up around Port Hedland, and it was raining inland. He was at Indy Station, where a river runs on either side of the station and closes the exits. I thought about it for a couple minutes, and then I went on the Bureau of Meteorology website and checked the river level stations upriver of him. I rang him up and told him he was less than an hour to get across the riverbed crossing and to have a station hand present to ensure he could arrange rescue if required. He complied. He made it across as the river was rising up to the rope rails just below the flat trailer beds. Not long after, we had to change many of the wheel bearings on the road train. The station reported that less than 15 minutes later, the river level rose much higher, and they were trapped there for 3 weeks. Turner River beside the Great Northern Highway, southwest of Port Hedland. Thanks again for helping so many people when the reality check knocks them down flat. Operating a life at full reality level certainly takes a lot of courage, but the vistas and viewpoints are truly worth the adventure required to get there. You have earned a heart full of respect from all these good people. Much appreciated. Much appreciated, Monty Bennett. Okay to read on air if you want to. It is a bit off your normal points of discussion, so I leave the choice to you. Choice been made. It's out. Sure, dude. Appreciate it, man. Who knows how the crowd's going to receive? If I had to guess, there's going to be a handful of people, very small handful of people are going to be just gazing at the screen with their tongue stuck to a window. But there's no avoiding that. A lot of other people are going to agree. Some people are going to be absolutely blowing a gasket because you said the Earth is spinning. Anyway, either way, take from what you will or leave it, you guys, right? And if you blow a gasket, you should probably go get yourself checked in with a mental institution and see how your mental well-being is doing. Take from it what you will or leave it. How hard is it to do that? It's so easy. You know, like, I couldn't imagine myself going online. I'm going to go online, I'm going to find a video, and then I'm going to absolutely stalk that video. I'm going to stalk that channel maker. I'm going to blow a gasket on them for not doing things the way I want them to do it with their damn channel. Right? Creepy, right? Very creepy. Take from it what you will or leave it. All right. Who's next? What do we got? This is titled Story Info Share. Hi. Thanks for providing a space and zero tolerance ridicule policy. It's very needed. The person who wrote in and said they felt like their memory had been wiped hit me like a ton of bricks. That wasn't an aspect I'd considered, but once I heard it, went, yes. I have a series of events that have been going on for years, but underlying through all the experiences I have this unshakable feeling I will, quote, see one again, end quote. I live in fear of this, by the way. Many do. I'm native out of the Pacific Northwest, North California, Oregon, Washington. Excuse me. Grew up very traditionally and have been outside since day one. I would bolt and run, disappear into the great outdoors whenever a hint of opportunity arose. My parents finally gave up since we lived in a very safe rural community, and I was outside from dawn till dark for most of my life. My young years were filled with long days beside a river, or hiding and playing in thickets or tree lines, fields, creeks, or fishing and camping. In my teen years, I bought myself a horse and rode the summers away, being gone for 10 to 14 hours. One summer, I was about 15. A friend and I went riding down by a waterway. My horse started acting up, and I got mad because she was uncooperative. My friend's horse then started getting spooked as well, and we were confused and flustered, and the horses were dancing and circling. My horse started snorting and hopped sideways, jerking as if she was avoiding something. The sky was clear, the day was bright, and it had been a leisurely ride up until then. It came on out of the blue. I was thrown and my horse stepped on me. I hit my head on a rock and blacked out. My friend flipped, but got her horse and then was able to wake me in a few minutes. She wouldn't discuss it, and wouldn't explain what she saw happen. She even was grounded for 2 weeks because she refused to talk, but she remains tight-lipped to this day as if nothing ever happened. I saw nothing, but my horse had never flipped out like that before or after that. I never rode down that way again, though many, many times I felt as if I was being watched or tracked, and turned around and rode back the other way. Only a few years ago, I read that Okay, sorry, it's a typo. Only a few years ago, I read that waterway and several miles in each direction have had multiple sightings by people. All right, side note, if you're still watching this channel, I don't know when this is sent in, make sure you send your friend a link to some of the videos here so she knows she's not alone. All right, if anything. And then who knows, maybe she'll want to share with us, maybe she won't. But either way, as long as she knows she's not alone, that's the main thing we can do with that. Sorry. I'm currently trained as a Western scientist. Part of my job is to work with tribes and tribal community members. I can't come forward because I'd be fired, but also because some of this isn't readily shared. Because I grew up traditionally, I know what to ask and how to listen in ways the white scientists don't know. My life seems to be riddled with them, and I haven't been able to recall a clear memory, though it feels like a memory is there, somewhere. It's incredibly frustrating. My work involves talking with a lot of people on a regular basis about outdoor conditions, and understanding tribal life with good communication skills got me put on tribe duty. Part of my job has become to brief teams who go into tribal environments, and that briefing always has to include Sasquatch sightings / encounters. 99% of the time, the others, non-natives, laugh and make jokes. But upon return and in debriefing meetings, every single one of these teams refuses to address the beings or any topic, and the tone in the room does a 180 from their initial laughing and joking about these beings. No doubt, unless you're basically the living dead between the ears. The stories started coming immediately after starting my job. Natives knew I knew. There's ways of understanding someone from the same culture, and it was clear I knew somehow, though again I don't remember anything specific. The information I've been told by more people that I can count is tremendous. It feels comforting and validating rather than just curiosity. I'm told by elders that they can, quote, lock onto you, end quote. It's discussed as to whether via an energy signature or vibrational patterns or scent. No one seems to really know how to get rid of them. Everyone just talks about how they were here first and are older than we natives are. I was told one story about a tribal person who fed them daily and was invited to go back with them. The person had been gone over a decade, but insisted they'd only been gone days, so their time is different than the Earth time. Wow, that sounds, that's a little shelf in the back of my head that just sat next to that statement. And I would like to know if there's any way to find out if that person had aged 10 years. That person also described walking into a mirage and things not being as we see them. The person was not clear how they make / create these facades. But I was warned to examine everything multiple times and not take any sight for granted because it might not be real or might be a trap. I've also heard many, many, many stories of them being able to cloak and move in invisibility. They and other beings use the night to roam more freely, so we are told to not be outside at night and never, ever, ever follow the floating lights. There's one area on our reservation they appear, and I've heard many stories of kids who have been taken and disappear or end up miles away from the specific area. We have ceremonies with hundreds of people, but these orbs target the kids, especially at night when parents are asleep. Elder encouraged parents to have the kids sleep with them in bed, and some have gone as far as tying rope or twine on wrists, tying everyone together. Sometimes we'll have guards walk around to protect a watch, always in groups. I was told one time from someone who admitted to sneaking out at night with friends, stole cigarettes to try. They hid under a thicket of bushes near a street lamp and saw a huge shadow suddenly appear behind them. He said it looked like a man with no neck, but was enormous. He insisted there were no footsteps and no one had been around. bracket, they snuck cigarettes to smoke and had lookouts checking in, bracket. He said the weirdest part was that there were no feet. It hovered about the ground. He knew it hovered because it slightly waved back and forth as a shadow. He said they were all too scared to look behind them, and within seconds it was gone. They hadn't even lit the first stolen cigarette, but when it, quote, floated off and away, end quote, all of them dropped everything and ran home as fast as they could and never went out after dark like that again. He still refuses to stay at ceremony after it starts getting dark. I've been told there are two types, just as some of your emails have indicated. One kind you don't mess with, but the other kind are protectors. I was told that protectors cannot keep you safe from the others and other beings if you're out at night. I also was told by one person that their cousin went for a short hike behind their house, right before twilight, and not even 200 feet from the house found a built structure just right into the tree line. Thinking it was from some of the family kids, went in and described walking into / entering, quote, another place, end quote. The light was daylight, and the surrounding environment was unfamiliar. And then was immediately transported to another area like a portal. I couldn't explain it, but got the impression they weren't supposed to be there and got kicked out after being found out. The guy called a friend for a ride. They asked why he was out in the middle of nowhere and got laughed at and accused of being drunk. They were unable to find it again after immediately going back after getting home, and everyone jokes about him, quote, hallucinating, end quote. This guy doesn't drink or use and works out on a regular basis. I've been told they can choose when to show themselves and when not to. But some places here on Earth mess up their system and it throws them off. I thought of that again as you were talking about the sections where the water and the embankment are, the way tribal people have described it. It seems like sonar / echolocation combined with some other sensing abilities. The other part of this have been the stories told of sightings in environments that has something not right, like vortex areas, or where tribal people know the energy is off or not normal. I've always been interested to know if someone has used anything loud against them or in defense, and if it worked. Horns, CB feedbacks, ultrasonic animal repellers, loud music. Has anyone said? I keep asking, but no one has said they used anything like this. I found myself wondering because we have a family farm with acreage of large timber. Quick side note before I forget, reading down. This person that went through and they said they got kicked out when found out. Who kicked them out? How'd they kick them out? Who found out? And also, what's their health like now? Would be questions getting back. As if, I mean, it's tough to, there's so much stuff coming in this email and you want to touch in on some of the points, and then you keep reading and you lose being able to touch in. So that's why I did it. I'm a babbler. I'm getting healthy again. I'm not going to die. Kidding. A young family member and I went out wandering on foot last year to find our Christmas tree, and we were about 15 feet away from each other. I was ahead and closer to the tree line when all of a sudden I hear a low, deep rumble, like growl. Excuse me, I felt start in my chest and reverberate through my body, and distinctly felt a "don't come closer" message. It was unexplainable. I turned, told the kid to haul it back to the house and get guns. An older family member brought out one of the big loud tractors, while I took out one of the farm trucks and went through the brush, but found nothing. No beddings, downs, no scratch marks, no tufts of hair, nothing. We surmised it must have been a cougar or a bobcat, though I know both of those growls like the back of my hand, and it was neither. We have sections of fruit fields butting up against the adjacent two sections of the forested land that I oversee, sometimes working alone in, and have felt watched many, many times while working in them. But when I look, I can find nothing. No tracks, no shapes, no evidence of any kind. We do have periods where everything in the forested areas goes silent, however, and I am very aware of staying close to the farmhouse when that happens, or leaving the field/forest. I was warned they can seek you out, and to be vigilantly careful. I currently live in an apartment complex in a large city, but on the edge. Next to me is a large grove of dense trees. The complex manager has to work on a regular basis to control pests. Everyone is warned upon moving in about coyotes and other things if we choose to walk near that grove. Occasionally, all of the noise will stop and there will be one lone bird calling. I'm 99.9% sure it's not a bird, but a mimicked calling. It sets me on edge each time. It'll happen day and night both. One of the odd things that has happened is rocks being left on, near, or around my vehicle. At first I thought the maintenance crew was being lazy or forgot my driveway, and then it was happening on a regular basis, so I started deliberately watching neighbors' driveways when I came home, and they were blown spotless. The leaf blower guy comes 2 to 3 times a week, and the street cleaner 1 to 2 times. So, cars kicking up rocks is unlikely. I started noticing it was always after they had come through, and it was only the rock, not dirt or leaves or anything else. The pavement is clean except for the rock. Always just 1 or 2, and then I found it odd the rocks all appeared the same. Same colors, same approximate shape and size, same placement. I know elders from multiple tribes have told me they will have things left by these beings for the elders. Gifts, if you will. I'm also a photographer, and I'm constantly looking at things that don't make sense when I'm editing. Areas that look like pixelated or just like the saran wrap in the 411 film. I've not been able to recreate a single event from any of these photos. I've gone back, set up the tripod in the same place, same light, same lens, sometimes not even 24 hours later, and come out with crystal clear photos of the same trees/bush/etc. I'm getting increasingly anxious when I pull up my photos to edit. I'm told they can imprint themselves into a camera or photo on will. I was told by one elder that their way of being makes it so they can't be easily photographed unless they choose, much like being seen in person. Another night there was a very loud thunk and heavy footsteps on the roof. Nothing like that has happened before. The workmen who have been on the roof multiple times, roofers, gutter cleaners, leaf blowers, demossers, raccoon, possum, squirrels, rats don't sound like that. I froze. There's a skylight on the roof with clear glass, too tall for me to block with a drape, and I arranged furniture away from it. We were taught to not go out at night, to go straight home, and to be indoors with doors and windows closed and locked, drapes and blinds pulled. Be careful. The powers that be obviously have found effective ways to shut people up since they invaded and colonized. We've known all along, but it's not listened to. And sometimes people don't want to call them to them, so refuse to talk about it. Thanks again. No name. There you go. Appreciate you sending that in. Hugely. That was actually January 27th, 2021. I'm glad I'm getting to new voices, and I haven't read that before. And there you go. The nighttime mentions, right? Hold on a second here. The nighttime mentions. You know, I think I said that a while ago. I was wondering why. Hold on, gotta do something here. Sometimes I just can't think and talk at the same time. Who come up with the for humans to not be outside after dark? Right? Who and why was the original reason why all mothers, everybody, even hunters still today, always got a dark way to get back to camp. Was getting dark. My attitude's always been, who gives a shit? Right, whatever. Whatever's in the woods is going to kill you, it's going to kill you at night or day. Right? So why the big uproar about the dark? That's what I was asking earlier. There you go. There you go. These rural communities with a history and the land going back how many generations, they have all got the same thing around the globe. Right? Get home before it gets dark. Stay out of the woods when it gets dark. The common knowledge, the common things that we hear all our lives but don't give too much attention to, right? It's like, oh, be in by dark? Okay. Right, without even thinking, well, how come for reals? How come for reals we're supposed to be scared of the dark? Doesn't make sense to me. It's making sense, but in the past didn't make sense. But I have probably not that common of a character, as I have been running around the woods in the pitch frickin' black for a long time. I've been lucky so far. But I'll tell you what though, when you do go through the forest and all of a sudden a deer laying down in a bed or something blows up right next to you in the pitch black and it explodes, boom! It's a pucker. It's a serious pucker, right? But anyway. What else? More voices. More voices. What do we got? So the gross hairy face. Well, people have beards and hair on their face. Drives me freaking bonkers, man. I got another one here. I don't think I read it. It's not marked as read, but we'll see. Hey Steve, I'm 50 years old. I've hunted and fished in the California forest since I was 12. Growing up in the Mount Shasta area, I've heard just about all the noises the forest and wildlife had to offer. So I thought. I just watched your latest video of the bright light orb at Hull Creek in the Stanislaus National Forest, just to get an idea of the area. Hull Creek is maybe 30 or so miles as the crow flies from the Sierra camp in 411 that hunted. In 2020, California shut down the forest during deer season for fires and COVID. I snuck in my camper to deer hunt about 3 miles from Hull Creek, so I know I was pretty much the only soul in the forest at the time. Just as I was turning in, I heard what I could best describe as a scream, roar, coming from the river canyon about 300 yards away. It was penetrating and directed at me. 300's a long ways away, man. That's a loud scream, right? It was penetrating and directed at me. I was scared shitless, even though I had a Smith & Wesson 300 Magnum. I wouldn't want to test it. Excuse me, I was always a skeptic, but not anymore. I can't go in the forest anymore without it on my mind. They won't keep me out yet, but I never want to see one. It seems once you know their existence is more than likely to have more encounters. I hope not. It seems Sasquatch and orbs go hand in hand. It also seems these beings will torment you when they have the upper hand. But when you catch them, they bolt, almost like hunter and prey. Thank you for giving people a platform to tell their story. And no, we are not crazy. Joe. P.S. If the government ever admits to these beings, they will boot us out of the forest for some endangered species bullshit. Yeah, the government can kiss my ass. Those, you know what? Yeah, I'll bite my lip on the government. Thanks for that email, man. You know what it was. Member of the club. Saw a quick video the other day of the criminal in charge of this country. Well, apparently in charge. He's put in the position of whatever his position is going to be called. Having this motorcade of about 20 vehicles, security vehicles, with him in Vancouver, British Columbia area. And I'm like, no doubt, right? No doubt they've got that many people traveling with them. If you screwed over a whole country so fiercely, wouldn't you be a little worried too? Right? It's kind of funny, isn't it? The more the security, the bigger the criminal. If you're a great leader and did nothing but great for the people of a country, you could just walk freely. People would swarm the shit out of you. Just say nothing but good things to you. But anyway, enough of that. Gotta get moving. Kind of excited. We had our Christmas this morning, early. Sarah got me a new GoPro with a battery that lasts longer than the normal ones, and a bunch of SD cards that I wanted. They're 256 gigabytes. Yes. I'm a pretty easy keeper, right? So, there we go. Now, share my story at howtohunt.com. That's where you get everything sent into and read word for word, all right? Sarah's telling me lots of places people are like, how do you get an email to this guy? Where do you find their email? Somebody tell me the email. I think I say it in every video, don't I? Maybe I should start putting a link in the description below, possibly. What else? I'll have a link in the... Okay, well, I'll hopefully remember to put that in the description below. I'll put a link to Dr. Melba Ketchum's conversation below. I believe that has been very well received, as it should be. So much knowledge in there is silly. Sarah's store continues to have a sale. It's her store. Good for her. She continues to have a sale going on in there. My good friend, angler guide, trophy hunter, sportfishing.com. Possibly one of the best I've ever fished with in my life, and I get nothing out of promoting my friends. Nothing. I like to promote the good people. They are the best. Anyway, babbling. What else? Quick note on what I'm behind. I'm behind in everything. I'm always behind in everything, right? Oh, for all you that are just here for the emails, I'm done reading emails for today, all right? So there you go. I haven't been in contact with my local First Nation superhero ladies for a little bit now. Got to get a hold of them. I have to get a hold of a lot of people. I have a lot of people I want to get a hold of to speak with on their knowledge about this here. I have people I want to get in this room with me here. It all takes time, and I'm a one-man army on this end, right? One person doing it all. So, and I have a lot on my plate. I'm living 5 lifetimes. I know I am. My choice, but what do you do? We're running out of time. No guarantee I'll be coming back here after this lifetime. Who knows? And going to meet up with various groups of people who allegedly are in communication and talks with these non-human people. Maybe they're humans. They share a DNA for sure, but however you describe to refer them to. I am 100% confident at this point that yes, there are groups of people in contact, without a doubt. Now, a lot of people have emailed me and cautioned me, don't do it, don't go do it, don't make contact, don't do it, Steve. And I appreciate the concern. I appreciate all the good people here. There's so many good people here that I appreciate and I'm so grateful for. You're filling my huge missing space between my ears daily. That is a huge gift, and I appreciate it. Just to let everybody know, I follow me. I follow my gut instincts. That's who makes my decisions for me. Of all the people that caution, I take it in, listen. Ultimately, it's up to my guts. All right? That's my ultimate commander in life at this stage of the game. I'm in tune. I'm rapidly getting more in tune, I find, as well. So my plan is to go down there. I need to meet with various people, look them in the eye, feel their energy, speak to them. Then I will know. I will know instantly my next step, what I should or shouldn't do. All right? So far, I'm in. Will I go the distance? Right now, I'm in, unless my gut blocks me once down there. All right? And on that note, I wonder if, a lot of people have been following this channel for quite some time, and I think you got a good feel for who I am. I hope you do. And it will be interesting for me. I mean, let's face it, we get a lot of emails from around the world nonstop of people sharing various flavors of experiences, right? A lot of experiences we kind of go, what? Right? But that, I believe, our ultimate truths are going to make us go like that anyways. Without a doubt. But I'm curious to know if, let's just say, what I'm trying to say is, I go down there, meet up with these great, kind, generous people, and we take me out, and all of a sudden, boom, I possibly see somebody in the forest, wherever it is in front of me. But then, more amazingly, somebody speaks to me in my head, which I've never had anything even remotely close to that happen to date. And you guys know where I've been in this lifetime. Now let's just say that does happen. Something communicates with me between my frickin' ears without being present or moving their lips or whatever. And obviously, I'm going to share every single millisecond of that experience with all of you once I get near the internet. It'd be interesting to know just how many of you will accept my testimony as accurate and no bullshit. I mean, let's face it. If I was into duping people or trying to, I don't know, how would you describe it? Rouse the, get the crowd going on something by being misleading or creating something. I don't know. I could probably go in the woods and get somebody to scream in the distance or throw shit at me or something. I don't know. Or dress up in a suit and try to make a head pop out. There's things I guess you could do to hoaxing, right? I'm pretty sure I would have done some crazy shit a long time ago. It's not my flavor. So, what am I even saying? I guess I'm just it's getting closer to the time. The time's flying. That time of my life is coming up pretty quick. And I'm getting a lot of my other stuff knocked off of my shelf. And now I'm getting more space in my head to focus on that task at hand, which is going to go and meet up with various people and experience what they are experiencing and be introduced to some of these beings that they are communicating with. All right? And I'm looking at what the outcome of this is going to be, what kind of new experiences I will have, how amazing or terrifying it will be, and either way, I will be sharing it all with all of you here. And I guess I'm just saying I would be interesting if I do have some sort of crazy ass, what the F, voices in my head, not mine, speaking to me clearly, and I'm not seeing shit. How all of you on average will receive my report on what went down without having video, right, or whatever that a lot of people seem to think they need. Because I'm not going to go down there, and I am not going to go down there with any I'm not going to be sneaky or dishonest about anything. I'm going to go down there as an innocent soul. Wide open doors, to a point, meaning I don't need any hitchhikers coming back here and tormenting the shit out of my life and ruining my life as I know it by possibly, what's it called, a hitchhiker connecting themselves to you. I don't need that going down. See, I'm babbling. I'm thinking about a million thoughts in my head and they're just coming up my mouth, making me sound like a kooky bastard right now, no doubt, but it's going to be something else, right? It's going to be something else. I'm probably not making sense. Maybe a little more caffeine. Anyway, I get it. I'm going to save you the time of going out of your way to email me cautions and beg me not to do it. I get it. I got the messages in the past. But just so you know, I listened to me. And I am in, but I'm not fully in yet because I haven't gone down and looked into the eyes of my hosts. I haven't felt their energy. And from there, we'll see where it leads. I just hope that whatever it is that's coming my way, I hope that I can deliver it to you, and you will have the confidence to know that that's what I saw and heard and felt. All right, to help all of you reach another level of knowledge, which I as well am doing at the same time. Does that make any sense? Oh boy, I'll tell you what. Be sick for a week and then babble to the internet by yourself in a room. I hope you're making sense. There you go. I better get out of here before somebody sends the guys in the white suits to come and get me and put me in a padded room. So, share my story at howtohunt.com. And all my Kiwi friends, if you're here, then you do know of somebody who thinks it to be very important to discover whether or not there is still a wild population of moose in New Zealand. I'm your guy. I'll do it. If there is, I'll find them. I'll get them on video. I have absolute confidence I'll pull that off. I love a challenge, right? I would love to do that. That'd be a great, fun, interesting challenge for me, and I would be all over it, like a fat kid on a Smartie. That's my kind of shit that I need. I just need that for me. I need adventure, I need challenge, and I like to apply the skills that I have cultivated to do it with. There you go. Babbling over. I'll be back tomorrow, and hopefully be a little more relaxed, not quite so babbly, but I'm getting excited for being healthy again.